What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, we use information from celestial bodies to help us gain a better understanding of our favorite celebrities, world events, but most importantly, our damn selves. So, you like what you see? Come on in, hit that subscribe button first, and then have a seat, all right? And before we get started with today's video, if you are interested in booking a astrology-based reading of your own, natal, synastry, or otherwise, feel free to contact me at astrowerld, astrowerld@gmail.com, and we can get you squared away on today. Now that that's taken care of, y'all know why I'm here, okay? As the title of today's video suggests, I'm here to do another revisited celebrity natal chart reading, this time on none other than Chrisean Rock. I'm pretty sure everybody knows Chrisean Rock by now. We have been involved or included in her group chat with Blueface against our will at that for about a year and a half now. Okay. At this point, they just had a kid together a few weeks ago, and Chrisean has actually been getting a lot of backlash. Blueface normally gets black backlash, but as of recently, there's been a lot of dialogue and discussion surrounding Chrisean Rock's competency as a mother. She was pictured out with the child improperly fastened in some type of harness at Walmart. A lot of people are questioning why she seems to be, not really focused on motherhood, right? She's on live all the time. So there's a lot of different, some people take the more compassionate route and are really vocalizing that she gets help and, really rallying around her and requesting empathy for her. And then you have a large group of people who are like, cut the bullshit. She's not fit. Wear a CPS. And they, hold her in a certain level of accountability just as much as they do Blueface. Then you got the people who just, are misogynistic and they're just team Blueface because he's a man. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do y'all think of the issue and the situation in and of itself? However, today's video is going to center around Chrisean and her journey with motherhood specifically. So I want to do a natal chart reading for Chrisean Rock, just within the scope of examining what within her chart actually reflects the struggles that she's clearly experiencing with motherhood, and what this journey could be like for her, as well as, from an astrological standpoint, is she actually fit for motherhood? Y'all want to hear? Here you go. Chrisean Rock was born on March 14th in the year 2000 in Baltimore, Maryland. And from a sheer numerology standpoint, the number 14 can be very challenging when it comes to commitments, especially commitments of the heart, when it comes to maintaining long-term responsibilities and things of that nature. For one, the number 14 technically reduces to 5. And according to Chaldean numerology, the number 5 deals with a certain level of restlessness. And people who have a lot of 5 energy, whether you are a life path 5, a birth number 5, or even having certain planets at the 5th degree, the number 5 could denote this tendency to kind of be all over the place, right? Here, there, and everywhere. And that's because 5s tend to love freedom. 5s can be very scatterbrained. The number 5 is a number that could even deal with constant motion. So you could even look at this from the standpoint of someone who is always on the go, someone who has a hard time just sitting still, staying put. And what is one of the main critiques that the general public has had in regards to Chrisean and her approach to motherhood thus far? Well, from what I've seen, it's been the fact that she's never been able to completely just sit down with the kid. People have seen her really have this baby somewhere everywhere, in the studio with the Hennessy and the chicken wings, gas stations. I mean, here, there, and everywhere. Okay. So from a numerology standpoint, a lot of this could even trace back to her having that birth number 14 energy. The number 1 actually does rule children. So even if you take the numbers 1 and 4 and separate them, with number 1 dealing with children, but the number 4 being a very separative number. So you could look at this as someone who could experience issues or matters in regards to children, but a lot of times it's going to revolve around the fact that just due to how unstable the number 4 is, it's going to be hard to, like, once again, commit oneself, or these are people who can have just a very challenging time when dealing with like large commitments like motherhood, or just, things revolving around children, or where a person could even feel like kind of disconnected from motherhood. So this could even speak to where motherhood, it could just be something where she feels very mechanical about it all, right? And she has a hard time feeling naturally passionate about something like a child. Not to be confused with not loving her kid, but on a soul level, like, these are people, and this is actually reflected in her natal chart, which we'll get into in a minute, where it's like maybe a person may just like go through the motions, but they lack true understanding and true passion for such an important role, right? Or at least maybe not understand the significance of it. These are people, 14s could have a lot of different things going on with them, lifestyle-wise, right? But the theme of children, the theme of men are going to be very important. Keep that in mind, bookmark that, because once again, it does reappear in the natal chart, which is why I love using numerology as well, because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it's going to support the findings within the chart or patterns that could be found within the natal chart. Now, hopping into Chrisean Rock's chart, the first aspect that really was the smoking gun, and that I really felt encapsulated the bulk of her experience as a mother, as we witnessed thus far, is this quincunx that's taking place between her Cancer moon and her Pluto in Sagittarius. Now, quincunxes are minor aspects, and even though they're minor in name, their effects can actually be very, very prominent in the chart holder, okay? Depending on what planets are involved. Quincunxes in nature have the ability to be life-changing, life-altering, in some cases life-ending, but inevitably point towards where there could be a lot of nagging problems and just complicated situations overall. So in this case, this moon Pluto quincunx symbolizes Chrisean's irritability with motherhood. It could make her very impatient, although the moon is very much dignified in Cancer. So from a vacuum standpoint, a person will look at her having a Cancer moon and think like, wow, well, she is, supposed to be a good mom. And it's not necessarily the case that people with all Cancer placements or even personal Cancer placements are by default good parents. The quincunx that the Pluto is forming to Chrisean's moon definitely alters the expression in her ability to be in tune and nurturing and attentive, and all of those good qualities that ideally would make, like, for a good mother or somebody who even has like natural maternal instincts, so to speak, because the moon can be just as instinctive as Mars is. So where those natural maternal instincts are just kind of, they can be kind of boggled down with other noise. And the noise being the distractions, when we talk about Pluto and Sagittarius, distractions, her desire for freedom. This is another quincunx that directly reflects why she's been all over the place since she's had the baby, per se. Now, this could also produce a complicated pregnancy. And in my last video that I did on her, I predicted that there could have been issues with her pregnancy. But this could have also resulted in the abortions that she got before the child, okay, that she just recently had. But moreover, it's just going to complicate motherhood for her. It could deal with her regretting motherhood, living a lifestyle that's not fit for motherhood, and her having to constantly make those adjustments. You can even look at this as a person who's not really used to settling down in one spot, where they're just, like I said, always on the go. And that has been the number one critique of how people have seen her interact with this baby thus far. Okay, so that's important to know. Now, I will say she does have her moon forming a sextile to her Saturn and Taurus, and that reflects her reaching purchase of a home. She just recently purchased a home, or, is leasing a home, whatever the case may be. But it deals with her at least having her financial priorities down pat when it comes to the kid. So I will give her 10s, okay, in my Bondi Blue voice. So, but on top of that, she also has her Cancer moon squaring her Mars in Aries. Now, this is a loaded aspect that really does play out a lot in terms of her personality. It absolutely deals with her growing up with a lot of conflict, her having a lot of issues with women, living in the house, Cancer moon, fighting women, literally her being on Baddies and the Blueface reality show, right, where she's, making a living, literally fighting bitches to the death, gladiator style. But this Cancer moon, Mars square in Aries could make her very selfish when it comes to parenting, like her approach to parenting or just being a mother, where she could just lack, once again, that feminine touch, that nurturing touch. And I thought it was interesting that her Mars is forming a conjunction to her Lilith. And that absolutely just reinforces this theme that could make her very problematic in nature, very conflict-driven in nature, animalistic in nature, especially when it comes to men. So these are women who are a certain brand of pick-me, competing for men, especially if we're talking about Lilith conjoined to Mars in Aries and the fact that it's squaring her Cancer moon. Her being involved in that little three-way love affair with Jada, and Blueface, where she would hold on to a man to compete for that man. I mean, even when you think about when she was on the Blueface reality show, that's what she was doing. She was on there with other girls competing for Blue. So, but as it pertains to her being a mom, too much energy could kind of go towards, her own needs, over for her to, really consider all that it takes to be a mom and to really lean into that role. Obviously, not to say that she can't be a good parent, but energetically, these are going to be some obstacles she's facing. That's just what it is. She also has a Leo North Node, which could produce karmically induced challenges surrounding men. Once again, the father. Now with her sun, or her North Node rather, forming a trine to her Pisces sun, this deals with her child, the little boy, being probably like an easy little boy to take care of, temperament-wise. It could point to where maybe she's always had a soft spot for children. Maybe deep down she's always wanted children. But in this lifetime, in regards to her love life, when it comes to men, when it comes to children, she's going to be, it's just going to be a lot of karmic debt she has to pay, a lot of obstacles she has to overcome. These are parts of her life that are naturally going to be harder, but there's something that she's meant to learn from all of this. She also has her sun squaring Chiron in Sagittarius, another aspect that could be really bad for parenthood, because it could just deal with her making irresponsible decisions, reckless decisions as a parent, And the dark side of Pisces, in its highest octave, because the sun deals with children, Pisces could be doting, very, once again, loving, compassionate, devoted, but in its lowest octave, it could be negligent. She also has Neptune conjoined to her Aquarius South Node, opposing that Leo North Node. That could be just being negligent or just not completely there. That also deals with her, where substance issues and things like that could have come into the play. And now that I think about it, with her Pisces sun squaring Chiron like that, that Chiron sometimes can manifest in health issues. So that has me wondering if if any of what's going on with her son, Chrisean Jr., could have anything to do with the things she's done while she was pregnant with him, because she made blogs after it was found out that she was smoking during the pregnancy. Some people speculate whether or not she was drinking into the pregnancy, things like that. But I do feel like, she has her work cut out for her, because parenthood is something, once again, and issues involving children is something that's just going to be hard for her. And it seems to me that this was just a byproduct of her issues with men. Like maybe she even had him for selfish reasons, which is also that Cancer moon squaring Mars and Aries. But with her son squaring Chiron, Chiron could also deal with how we inflict pain onto others, where she could really end up hurting that boy. And I'm not saying physically, I'm not saying that she doesn't care. This could even be psychological, where she's going to have some sorrow in this lifetime involving children. That's also reinforced with her having the asteroid Niobe, which literally deals with sorrow in children, conjoined to Saturn. A lot of karma involving her child, especially with Saturn and Taurus. This could even deal with, I don't know if she had this child for a money grab, a person who could, exploit their child. She does have that Jupiter in Taurus squaring her North Node too, so that could be greed. And that playing a factor in her type of judgment, or the judgments that she makes in regards to even her kid, where her judgment could just be off. And a lot of it could be determined by like money or even just superficial reasons. That's another way to even interpret Niobe conjoined to her Saturn and Taurus. Having a child for superficial reasons. So yeah, maybe she could feel like he's financially taken care of, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I've heard her say before, like, my son has this and this, even before she had the baby. Oh, I could do this and I could do that financially. And, she, because of her career and its upswing, everybody pretty much wants a piece of Chrisean. I know she's getting a bag for this and for that, but that does not mean that you are mentally and emotionally prepared to take care of a child. Hence, the fucked up nature of her Cancer moon, okay? All the afflictions, the quincunx to Pluto, the square to Mars and Aries. So, and even the fact that her son, the lower octave of that Pisces sun can be very compromising, and it can make a person a very careless parent. And then she also has her sun squaring Chiron and Sagittarius once again. Another interpretation of that is her receiving a lot of judgment for her parenting skills and things like that. And that could be something that could stick with her, where, and with her having a Virgo sun, one thing I know about Virgos are they're going to find something to complain about. They're very critical, so, her son is going to grow to judge her. And it's just interesting how those generational curses play themselves out, because she had a lot of judgments of her mother. So, but a lot of this is just karma playing out in regards to her father, the men in her life, and now her son. And I truly feel bad for the little boy. Now, Virgo, because the little boy is a Virgo is also the sign of health. If afflicted, these are people who can very much have health complications. I did a little natal chart reading on the little boy, and I'm going to go into it more in depth on my Patreon. So if you are interested in watching, go ahead and click the link in the bio section. I've included my Patreon link. You can find me over there. I typically don't like to get that deep into the natal chart of babies and children, but because literally by way of just how public this whole situation has been, his mom, his own dad, then had this little baby on Front Street, and he's a very important part of their storyline. I thought it would be fitting to analyze that further. So yeah, we'll just save that for there. I won't go too deep. I'm actually going to cut this video short because I didn't want to be here all day with y'all. I just wanted to discuss some of the important aspects within Chrisean Rock's chart that are absolutely going to contribute to her difficulty being a mom, period. I don't think by nature she has that kind of personality to her and that maternal instinct. But in this lifetime, technically, this is supposed to teach her something, but it's having a planet or a sign on your north node is not always indicative of it being a peaceful experience. It could actually be quite the opposite. You can experience a lot of suffering in that area of your life, especially if you are resistant to acquiring the traits that it takes to evolve into that. And with Leo, once again, ruling children, her being a Leo north node, Leo also ruling fame, right? Her, dealing with fame being challenging and being in the spotlight, but also her dealing with children, her dealing with her love life. All these things symbolized by Leo are just going to be where, honestly, if she doesn't learn her lesson and adapt, instead of succumbing to that Pisces victimhood mentality where you are crying about this and wanting everybody to throw a pity party for you, if you can't truly be accountable and evolve as a person, your north node is going to run your life. Yeah. So this concludes my video. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about just this whole situation in Chrisean's chart. Do you have any similar placements or aspects that speak to you? And how has this played out in your life? And yeah, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until the next video, I holla. Talk to you soon.